Vince McMahon, guilty or not guilty? Let's look at the evidence, shall we? Hello, lovely people of the internet. It's your old friend, your buzz, your face-to-face Anglo-Saxon conspiracy theorist, Warshaki. How you all doing today? So, I've been following the Vince McMahon scandal, mainly because I'm a massive wrestling fan, and Vince McMahon has been a huge part of my wrestling journey throughout the years. He's always been the main man, really, hasn't he? Ever since the days of Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. Back in the day, of course, we didn't realise that he owns the company, but gradually as we moved into the Attitude Era, his full power level was revealed, and he morphed into this wacky, power-crazed lunatic on television, playing a character, so we thought. Obviously, the recent scandals, there's the poor lady. She's very cute, isn't she? She's very, very cute. Janelle Grant is her name, who's accused, a very creepy looking Vince McMahon, of horrible behaviour. You probably know all the details, so I won't traumatise you further by going through them again. Let's look at this lady, just so we can keep her in mind, really, and I won't get too silly, because what was alleged to have happened to this poor young woman was absolutely disgusting, wasn't it? So the evidence that I'm speaking of is not the text messages that have already been released, but the evidence of Vince McMahon's career on television, what he was doing, what his characters were doing as well. You've got to remember that he was the head honcho. He was the guy controlling everything, puppet master behind the scenes. So the first thing for me that comes to mind is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I don't think anyone's talked about this before. So Vince McMahon always said, did he not, that the $1 Million Man was based on him. And the gimmick of the $1 Million Man was everyone's got a price for the $1 Million Man. In other words, I can humiliate you because I've got the money to do so. There was some quite famous segments where the $1 Million Man would give people dollars to do humiliating things on television and to cheat. Of course, there was a segment where he was getting a young kid to dribble a basketball, and then he, I think it was either him or Virgil that made sure that he didn't complete the required dribbles, or whatever you call it, the bounces of the ball. So it was always, with the $1 Million Man, about getting off on humiliating people by waving dollar bills in front of their faces, right? The Vince McMahon character himself obviously had the Kiss My Arse Club, which everyone seemed to find very amusing at the time, but I thought it was kind of weird and creepy. Dropping your drawers in the middle of the ring and getting your employees to kiss you on the backside because they need a job, right? I'm sure you can think of lots of other incidents that happened on television where Vince McMahon proved just what a power-crazed weirdo he was. Obviously, there was the instance where he broke character completely and rushed into the ring because he was unhappy with the end of the Royal Rumble. You're going to have to remind me about what particular year it was, but you remember the incident if I say that he tore both of his quads when he came into the ring, and he sat there in the ring, badly injured, barking orders at the wrestlers like an absolute maniac. That was not the Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon character. That was him. That was the real Vince. An absolute angry, crazy, power-tripping control freak. And of course there's lots of stories about him barking orders at his commentators in the headphones, upsetting people like Mick Foley, right? So the revelation that this man, Vince McMahon, was a weird control freak who got off on abusing and humiliating people because he's rich shouldn't really come as a surprise, should it? So when you hear stories about what happened to this poor lady here, and again, I'm not going to go through those stories because they're pretty disgusting, it doesn't really come as much of a surprise, does it? So the argument that you're innocent until you're proven guilty wears a little bit thin here, because there's so much consistent evidence of a very warped, deranged, perverted mind who was allowed to get away with what he was getting away with for so long because of money. It's always money at the end of the day, isn't it? Power and money. And I really want, and this never really happens, does it, if you come to think of it, I really want, if any good is going to come from this, to be serious for a second, I want the people who enabled his behaviour to be held responsible as well. Because when you got someone like this acting in a Harvey Weinstein kind of way, he only gets away with it because he's surrounded by people who are too cowardly, too immoral to do anything about it. So you can't tell me that the people working with Vince McMahon for decade after decade after decade thought he seems like a nice guy, I'm sure that nothing weird is going on here. They must have known, and because they were getting paid well, because they are positions of affluence and societal respect, status, basically, they just said, yeah, it's fine. Same as the people working with Harvey Weinstein for all those years. So to me, if lessons are to be learnt from this situation, it's not about the rich guy who everyone knows is a weirdo and gets away with horrible, weird, power-tripping, sexually perverted stuff. The lesson should be, when we see people like this in the future, be that one nail that stands up. Don't be afraid of getting knocked down. Don't be a coward. Do the right thing. Be a moral person. Because there's one thing that we need in the world today, one thing that we're sorely lacking in the West, is moral bravery. People doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not the self-serving thing, which is to go with the flow. And I think there's lots of people working for WWE who just went with the flow because it was good for their career. Not going to say anything about the pervert that's in charge because got a good job and a pension to worry about, haven't I? So that's my take on the Vince McMahon situation. Again, to reiterate, I am not saying that he is guilty of everything that he's been accused of. All I'm saying is that over the decades, there's been a consistent pattern of behaviour, not just in storyline, which I've outlined, with the $1 Million Man and the Kiss Me Arse Club, but also in his real life behaviour when he broke character, and also the stories about him barking orders at people in their headsets. Always been a guy who's got no problem using his money and his power to bully and to humiliate people. So why would that be any different in his private life? Okay, that's all I've got to say about the issue. What do you lovely people think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for checking us out. Give us a like and a sub if you'd be so kind, and I'll be back later talking about more, hopefully, upbeat wrestling related topics. I'm trying to knock the politics on the head for the time being, even though we're going into election season in America. I just want to transition onto more positive topics, even though I've had to touch on this kind of gross, problematic, disgusting, disturbing story. It's about Vince McMahon. He's been the main man in wrestling for many decades, and I just felt I had to say something about it. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers. Take care. Catch you all later. Bye.